Hey guys, Pat here from the BJJ Lab, and today I'm going to show you our guard retention system. So basically, whenever you have the guard, you have different layers of the guard. And today we're going to talk about first the feet, then the knees, and then the hips. I'm here, not just in the middle, but a little bit angled to the side. And one of my feet is always going to track my partner's body, so it's going to be here. This hand here, really important, is going to frame my leg here. If I don't have this frame, at any point he can just push my legs to one side and pass my guard. It's a really common mistake you see a lot of people do. And again, if you don't have that frame, they can just push you. On the other side, I'm going to be under my leg here with the arm. So also to make sure my knee doesn't go to the mat. It would be nice to be here, but then I'm just squared up and it's hard to go side to side. So I'm angling everything at one side. This also makes it a little bit harder for him to do things like double unders and like stack passes and everything. If you're squared up, like you're really straightforward, and he might go here or he might dive under. If I'm here and he starts walking around, I'm going to keep tracking him, and even when I'm upside down here, I'm always tracking him. But I don't extend both legs. This is a big mistake because now he can start stacking me here and start his passing or back takes. So I'm here. If he keeps walking, at some point you can switch the leg, and now he just played reverse on the other side. Of course, if he's far away when he's circling, then you can just use your elbows here and readjust with the hips. Like if he gets too close, you can also push with your hand to square back up. So that's if he's far away. So usually you keep the elbow-knee space closed, but even if I'm like locked here, if he just pushes me to one side, he starts to get hip exposure here, and then he can start attacking my back. Like even if I'm a package here, he will probably find the seatbelt at some point or attack the choke. So just holding here is not enough. So we have to be able to block side-to-side motions, because if the knee touches the mat, you give a lot of hip exposure on the other side. And even if he like passes to this side, he pins, then he can start changing slides, and that's how you see a lot of guard passes happening. Then people scramble to the other side, they get pinned on this side, and the same thing happens there. That's not the only way he can open up my knee though, so he could also pull it forwards towards the mat. Like if you start to learn about the framing, a lot of people are like, now he cannot push me ever to the side again. And then you feel safe, and then people start doing things like the cross grip pass and pull the knee forward and down. And now even though I have the frame, he still gets into the mat and he has an opening to pass. Whenever you feel someone pulling, you want to hug your leg and make sure he's not getting into the mat and he's not pulling the knee away. If he's able to open this space, you also give the pass. So whenever you feel your partner's going to pull, you're going to hug and make sure your knees stay tight. If you feel he's pushing you to the side, then you have to frame. So the two have to work together. So if you want to prevent the stack from happening, what you do is you make your feet really heavy. So usually we keep our hips a little bit off the mat to be able to track, to follow side to side. But whenever you feel someone going under your legs and your hips are off the mat, this is bad. Now if he pushes forward, you're going to get stabbed. So as soon as I feel this, I make my legs heavy. So I push my heels down and I'm arching my back. Now if I just stay here, he will still flip me, of course. So I have to, as soon as I'm here, I'm going to pummel. So he's giving me upwards pressure, so I have to be faster and take him off. I cannot do this if I'm relaxed, and now I cannot pummel because he's just going to keep following me and my hips stretch. So you have to first resist and then pummel your legs back in. It becomes interesting once he gets past my foot. So there's many ways to do it. So like maybe he's doing a bullfighter, and now you see he got past my foot, but my knee is still in play. Now again, if he goes for the bullfighter, I have to frame this leg here. If you don't, you get passed. My goal is to get my foot back before he gets past my knee. So his next step will be to get past the knee and then go to the hip. So when you have the frame, you can use the free hand to push. Now where do you push? It depends on which kind of pass he does. If Jonas starts leading with this shoulder, I'm going to frame this shoulder. If he's leading with the other shoulder, depends on the pass, I'm going to frame this shoulder. So now I'm going to circle this foot around onto the shoulder here, and I push to get my foot back. So now he gets past the knee. So it's going all the way around and he's coming low. So now I have to get my knee back, but right now I'm not just able to just pull it back. I need to start framing with both hands. So whenever someone's past the knee line, you have to use both hands to frame. Just this is not enough because I'm not going to get this foot back either. Now I have to move my hips and I shift them to the outside. So just a little hip switch here. Don't do like a hip escape where you step, because now you give up north-south position. Really common mistake. So don't hip escape, just do a hip switch, and then you can bring your feet back into play. So one important detail when you play guard is you never want your knee on the mat. So before we were framing, but now maybe I missed this and Jonas got the knee to the mat here. So now it's just a matter of time until he passes because my hip on this side is accessible. So I have to make sure I keep him away before he gets too close to the hips. So I'm going to frame him and I'm going to go towards the side of the trapped leg, and I can step and raise my knee off the mat. When the knee's off the mat, I can drive off my feet and Granby roll back into some kind of guard. Now, of course, it's really scrambling, so you want to always stop the pass as early as possible. So as soon as someone gets past the feet, you want to get your feet back in play. The other thing is entering leg entanglements when he passes, so you can either lead with the shoulders, where you frame and recover, or maybe he's doing a bullfighter here and going knee on belly. Now if you wait, of course, like if you settled in, now it's a little bit too late to do guard retention. But if you catch it a little bit early and you create a little bit of space, you can enter into things like 50-50 or even the matrix. If he steps with the other leg, like this side, then you shoot it from the outside. Okay, now let's see how it applies to a different pass, because the principle holds true no matter which pass you do. But the details are a little bit different, but the concepts stay the same. So let's have a look at a knee slide pass. So first of all, if I'm here and my foot is still aiming at him, there's no way for him to knee slide pass, right? He first has to get past my foot. So he steps over, and now I make sure my knee doesn't touch the mat here. If you already play things like reverse Salahiva, this will look familiar. Also, if you have done some knee slide defense, you never want your knee on the mat here. That's why you put something under, right? He wants to drive his knee through, and this frame makes it harder for him. Now, if he comes really low here, you will have to frame on the free side. So usually the knee slide, this shoulder here is leading. So you frame away and you bring your foot in. When your foot is in, you push and you square up, get your foot back into play. Now, if you get steeper, with the knee slide it's a little bit different. Again, I want to have two frames to push, but so now I lose this. Just pushing with the arms here is a little bit hard. So what I want to do, if we go back, if possible, is have a knee slide in here, knee shield in here. And then I use the collar grip here to push. So now there's a lot of weight on me, so I have to do a chest escape. So I move my chest away, make a big circle with my hand, and I come on my elbow. My knee's on the mat. So if you remember from before, I need to get my knee off the mat. So I keep pushing, I raise my hips, and I get my knee free. And now I can shoot it back in, and we're playing guard again. So now maybe I missed the chance to frame, but I still have my knee shield, and he slides even all the way through. So it's getting close. The knee shield is the only thing I have. I have to first prevent him from grabbing my collar, of course, so I keep him away, but then my knee is still on the mat, so I have to get my knee off the mat. So I'm gonna raise my hips here, come up on my shoulder, and then I just spin through, and now my knee is off the mat again. So you have to drill these things a lot. Not actually drill them much, like once you get the things down, you have to do a lot of positional sparring. Maybe film yourself, and whenever you get past, think like, what went wrong? Try to fix it, and do it again and again. And if you do just a couple hours of positional sparring with those things in mind, your guard will become really, really hard to pass.